Are you ready? Bum bum meow.
No,
There, it's the DX intro.
No, you're right. Crash and burn.
Like that. Ah, the hell with it. Nobody's here for the intros anyway.
No, everyone's here for the intro. It's all anybody ever listens to. It's like get 20 seconds
fair.
in and we'll switch the fucker off.
Yeah, the YouTube stats say average of 2 minutes. I thought that was pretty reasonable.
That's pretty good for us.
I can barely listen to myself for 2 minutes. So.
I mean, you're talking about the podcast, right? Okay, never mind. That includes foreplay.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the podcast. We have established the level.
Indeed, the tumbleweed has appeared 20 seconds in.
Yeah, I have one of them, don't I? Didn't I have a tumbleweed?
You had a tumbleweed, yes.
A sound effect. I'll maybe put one in. I don't know if I can be bothered. It's easier if I don't.
It's easier if you don't. We need to get your push buttony thing working again if we're going to do that because it saves on the editing time.
Kinda, yeah. But then the problem is, from what I recall of this, I could never remember that the button was there to push. So somebody would make a terrible joke, and then like a minute later, I'd realise, I should have pushed the button. And that would be the whole thing.
Well, that in itself is good humour, isn't it? It's
I guess
my tumbleweed arrived too late.
But it's the I guess it's this is us telling everyone how the sausage is made, isn't it?
Well, yes. I mean, we don't want to give away the secret to our meat.
Yes, the trade secrets.
Trade secrets. Okay,
right.
Let's jump in with both feet.
This week, I would suggest, why don't we this week talk about some wrestling and then some movies? How's about that?
Well, if you're going to change things up, give me a warning. I'm not prepared.
Well, are we? Maybe this is season 2. I don't know.
There's very little seasoning on this. This is as plain as we get. Right. Let's start with the wrestling then, because that's what people are really here not to listen to.
Well, it seems to be. I was trying to think before this what the news has been over the last week. I probably ought to prepare ahead of time.
Makes it far less fun.
I guess so. There's 2 things I can think of. There must have been more happened in the last few days than just that.
Yeah.
But
okay. Yeah. Roll the dice.
Please, kick off. I know you have one.
Okay.
So we'll go with that.
So
Let's start with the big one.
We'll start with the big one. Is it a big one? I don't know. It doesn't feel like a big one, I'll tell you that much. Kurt Angle's retiring at WrestleMania 35, apparently. It might be the first of his 17 retirement matches, but let's take it on face value. He's going to retire. This is going to be his last match as an active wrestler. And it's just been announced 2 days ago on Monday Night Raw that his final opponent at WrestleMania 35 is going to be none other than Baron Corbin.
Surely not Baron Corbin.
Baron Corbin.
The Baron Corbin?
Yes.
How did it get
Did you feel all of the air leave the room there?
Yeah, pretty much.
Now, the rumours on the rumour mill, I'm doing the inverted commas things with my hands here. I know you can't see it, but I am, honestly.
No.
The rumours in the rumour mill is that this is not a swerve. This is the actual lined-up match at the moment. But you've got to believe,
I heard about this.
With the reaction that has been given, which is massively underwhelming, but it's nothing against Mr. Baron Corbin, but Mr. Baron Corbin has been presented as a bit of a joke for the last year or so. He started off as quite a badass and all that, but he's represented now as a bit of a joke. He's the heel that can never win. His mouth is bigger than his brain, so on and so forth.
He was the beginning of the NXT call-ups that looked really good and were just nothing was done with them.
Yeah, and this is so it becomes so underwhelming because you can't imagine in any way that this is going to end in a surprise. This has got to end with a Kurt Angle win. There's been no momentum to get. I know there was
not necessarily
thing. Well,
I think it doesn't have to end in a Kurt Angle win.
Well, I mean, if it doesn't, he's been beaten by a B+ player.
But if you think of it this way, right?
A character that doesn't exist.
Yeah, I don't disagree with any of that. But I mean, I've been following this story as well, and there was a lot of speculation. We spoke about this. We actually touched on this last week. We both, I think, agreed that it was likely to be Cena for the closing the circle of him introducing Cena.
Yep.
And if it does, if it does turn out, if it is either whether this is as a result of a change of plans, or if my personal view is that they are deliberately swerving us at this point, that they have no intention of it being that, or possibly they will have that match and then Cena will unexpectedly come out or something like that. That's kind of what I'm thinking. That would be the spectacle of the moment.
I'll be honest. I'm not sure that a storyline involving Cena's sexuality is going to work for me.
Come on now.
Well, you said he would. You said he would unexpectedly come out. I mean, after
the Nikki
Bella thing, yeah. It would, well, in what way? Are you trying to say that Nikki Bella looks like a man?
Anyway, moving on. So yeah, whether it's us or whether whatever it is, there is nobody else in storyline that he could face.
That's true.
And does Angle not strike you as the kind of person, given all the work he's done over his career, probably more of it since he left WWE, to be honest, but he has put over a lot of talent. Does he not strike you as the kind of person who would put somebody over on the way out?
But it's not really putting him over, is it? Because there's been no build. I mean, I like Corbin. I have no problem if there had been some sort of proper build beyond the Raw GM. I replaced your storyline that went nowhere.
Yeah.
Beyond that fluff,
I agree.
There's no momentum there. There's nothing.
Yeah, and
I don't think you'll get momentum from it. I think it'll just be a throwaway match. If it's Corbin Angle as a true retirement match, it's going to be a throwaway match.
He is very good. Corbin is very good anyway at getting heat from the crowd. If he gets a win over Angle, that's nuclear heat. That's heat that they can work with to build something on.
See, I don't think it is. I think it'll just deflate. I mean, and that's the danger. It doesn't get him heat. People are just go into it so disinterested that it doesn't matter what they do. They can have him beat him down. They can have him introduce Godzilla to eat Kurt Angle alive, and people will go meh.
Yeah, but I mean, you never know. I mean, how many times have you come away from watching WrestleMania and been anything less than happy? It might not finish perfectly. It might not be the most amazing spectacle, but they always seem to manage to pull it out of the bag.
They do, and this might be the match that we all forget that exists, because there's always matches you forget that exist.
Yeah, kind of. Or it could be the match that, I mean, they've still got 2 more weeks. This could be the match that, I mean, we weren't, I certainly wasn't looking forward to Orton Styles until last week. And then, bam, just with one promo, suddenly, ooh, okay.
But you're talking about
this is a match
you're talking about 2 A+ players there. You're talking about
I sure am. Yeah, I agree. It's a difference.
Who are still prime-ish. Kurt Angle's well past prime-ish. These guys are still prime-ish.
Yes.
It's a different dynamic. But my attention has been completely taken away from this, I'm afraid, by something that's on my screen that I've just noticed that I need to tell you about.
Tell me.
So I'm a Cheaty McCheaterstein. You know this.
Right.
So, just as a reminder of what happened on Raw, more kind of the matches, because there's so much happens that you forget a lot of it. But just in case there was something that came up. So I've got in front of me, it's called the Bleacher Report, which I think is run by CNN or Sports Illustrated or someone like that.
Yeah,
and
I've heard of this Bleacher Report.
So it's the Raw review from Monday night, winners, grades, reactions, and highlights. And what they do is they embed the YouTube clips from WWE into each of the things, right? So you see the little image with the little play icon on it, and you can click play, and you can watch the little highlight. And I don't know if you want to do this live, Chris, because this is just freaking me the fuck out, and it's completely distracted me. And I apologize to all the listeners because this is really wrong. But you scroll down, and it's the Finn Balor, Finn Balor, Finn Braun Strowman,
Balor, why not?
Finn Balor, Braun Strowman, Bobby Lashley, and Leo Rush.
Yes,
and then it's got the little capture for the YouTube video clip for it, and it looks like Finn Balor is attempting some sort of Oh no! Now I've noticed what it is. He's
Okay.
he's holding on to the rope, but if you don't notice the rope, it looks like he's attempting some sort of drop kick while holding his penis because he's wearing red trunks.
His own, or
His own, because he's wearing red
wow.
trunks. But it's not. It's the rope, and that's since we started talking about Baron Corbin versus Kurt Angle. I've been looking at this, thinking, "Oh my God, Finn Balor, whatever, is attempting some sort of drop kick while holding on to his penis." And it's not. And now I feel like a total douche.
I can see it. I can see the link. Yeah, he's.
If you don't
It's
notice the
almost,
rope, it looks like he's holding on to his ding-a-ling-a-ding-dong.
Yeah. Although, I mean, that's with both hands, mind you.
Well, hey,
Yeah. Fair enough.
There's maybe a reason.
play to the man.
Yeah, there's maybe a reason Becky Lynch has got red hair.
Yeah, it's not just the Sabs.
See, that's just connecting the two in a romantic relationship because they're both Irish.
I know that's incredibly racist. I
It's
think.
very racist, and I apologise to both of them. I'm big fans, and I'm sure there's nothing untoward going on between them. And if there is, it's got nothing to do with their nationalities.
She's is she not dating somebody an MMA person?
No, that's Ronda Rousey, isn't it?
Well, Ronda Rousey is married to
Well,
an MMA person, but I believe she's dating an MMA. I believe Becky's dating an MMA person.
I don't know. Does it matter? I mean, are we really getting into gossip on this podcast? Are we gossiping about wrestlers' personal? We've mentioned John Cena's sexuality, Finn Balor's two-handed
all I'm
penis.
saying is, all I'm doing is just merely adding it as color commentary. It is a piece of information that is in my head, so I was just putting it out there, just to inform the listener.
But you don't know if it's right or wrong. Hey, Becky Lynch is dating
I don't know if the
MMA
listener
fighter.
exists, let alone.
Yeah, Becky Lynch is dating an MMA fighter whose name is Billy Bob. He's from Texas and he likes to chew on corn. It could be true. It's information for our listeners.
Right.
I can hear you
So
tippy-tapping. I can hear you looking this up.
Now I'm Googling it.
Yeah, I knew you would.
Jesus.
She's dating Jesus.
No. According to the Sun, because that's
a reliable source, yep.
And of course now I have those cookies on my machine, so thanks for making me do that. Becky Lynch's boyfriend, Jeff Dye, is an actor and stand-up comedian in the US.
There you go.
That is, it's from the 28th of January, so fairly recent.
Okay, so you're upset that you have the cookies from the Sun on your computer. You have no problem with the cookies from...
From what? From, like, Pornhub?
Yeah.
Is this where you were going with that?
Yeah.
No, because, hello, private mode? Duh. What is that for, if not, right?
Well, that was private mode is what?
What is it for if it's not for, preventing the cookies from the sites that you don't want to visit, or you don't want people to know you're visiting, from being stored on your computer?
I must be behind the times on this. What's private mode?
You are way behind the times. Oh my goodness me. It's exactly that. It's a mode that doesn't store cookies and doesn't store history.
Oh. Well, that would have been handy to know years ago.
Yeah, there you go. Yeah. You could have still been on your first marriage. Who knew?
I'm glad my wife doesn't listen to this podcast.
Well, that's the bit that you missed earlier on, was the talking about this and that and next. I said, yeah, I don't even know if the listener exists, because who knows?
Neither of them or anybody that I know.
Anyway, back to the focus of the Corbin and Angle. So yeah, it is if it genuinely is this, what I heard today was so I think when I saw Raw, nothing had been said about it other than, I think generally the folks, the stuff I was reading, the stuff I was looking at was that this was going to be a swerve further down the line. Since then, Angle's wife posted a tweet about expressing her disappointment about it, and that suddenly has been removed. And seemingly, the Wrestling Insider are reporting that they've got sources that are saying Angle's quite disappointed with it as well. So it lends credence, but then
it could be one massive swerve.
WWE,
yeah.
If you're the WWE would try to swerve, that's exactly the kind of information you can disseminate. So
yeah,
I'll watch how it unfolds with interest. If it is Corbin and Angle, and if it's his last match, I will watch it, but probably go for a pee
So-
in the middle of it.
So I'm going to get slightly political at this point, but not entirely political. For our UK listeners, does it not feel that how the WWE is handling its stories at the moment, for the most part, and how it's handling these sort of things like Kurt Angle's retirement match, does it not feel a bit like how the UK Parliament handles Brexit?
I felt that this was what you were about to say.
Blindly stabbing at the dark, not really knowing what they're doing, what they want to achieve, but hoping that something.
Quite apart from that,
at the end of the day, hoping that something works out, whatever it is.
Yeah,
something
quite
works
apart
out.
from that. Quite apart from that, it's the same thing again and again, week after week after week after week. But
meaningful vote 77.
Yeah, but right up until the point where the Speaker of the House, Vince McMahon, had to step in and abolish authority figures and do the whole thing. So that's the parallel I'm seeing there.
I've just got to say this: if you're on meaningful vote 3, can you really use the word meaningful?
Well,
I'm just saying.
I suppose you could if it's a completely different vote. Then I guess so, but clearly it isn't. So.
I know we don't stray into politics much, and we're not gonna share political opinion. I just thought it was a nice analogy of what the Parliament are doing, whether you agree with Brexit or like the rest of us, completely sick of hearing the word Brexit. I just thought it was a nice analogy. There seems to be some prodding about in the dark, hoping that something good comes out of it. But you just don't know what it is.
Well, all I'm going to say is we voted for this, right? So it's our own stupid fault.
Did we vote for Baron Corbin versus Kurt Angle? Oh, you mean Brexit, right? Sorry.
Well, but I mean, you've got a good point there as well. My own personal feel is that WWE's booking has been terrible for 2, maybe 3 years now.
It shows us there are flashes of brilliance, but that seems to be almost accidental.
Yes, exactly. That's it. It's like, flashes of brilliance, and it's when it seems to be when the we're not allowed to call them wrestlers, are we? The superstars. When the superstars have more control, more say in what they're doing themselves.
Well,
or so the reports are. That's when good stuff happens.
Agreed, because Daniel Bryan, I love what Daniel Bryan's become because.
Yeah, he's fantastic.
I love Daniel Bryan, and I was a huge kind of, I think we're called marks for Daniel Bryan, and I was massive.
Yeah.
And now, in the best way possible, I cannot stand him. He is a true, he's a true bad guy because he comes on TV, and I do not want to switch him off, but I also do want him to get his smarmy face rubbed in the mat. So to go from loving him to wanting to see him get his face beaten in every week in an entertainment environment. Of course, I don't want to see him actually physically harmed, but you know what I mean. He's done that brilliantly. The only other person that manages to do that is, well, in fact, there is nobody else that manages to do that. I was going to say Randy Orton, but when Randy Orton's a good guy, you never truly get behind him because he's always just been a far better bastard than anything else. So you never
and he does this tweener thing far too much as well.
Yeah.
The bit where you just don't know. I mean, I like the element, the Viper, the whole thing. You can't trust him, so you don't really know if he's being good or not. But yeah. I warmed an awful lot. We've spoken about this before as well. I warmed an awful lot to him after seeing him live.
Yeah,
I thought that what he was doing there was very classy, professional. Behavior.
Yeah, but
speaking of him, to your comment about Daniel Bryan, the only thing about Daniel Bryan with me just now is, whereas I'm like you again. He's crawly. He irritates me when he's on the screen just now. I dislike him. I dislike his character immensely. But I wasn't the same level of mark for Daniel Bryan as you were.
No.
So I've never fallen in love with him as a wrestler.
To be fair,
so I want to see him wrestle more.
Yeah, I drank the Daniel Bryan Kool-Aid. I had the Daniel Bryan pajamas. I had the Daniel Bryan underpants. I had the Daniel Bryan condoms, which are made of hemp and are very uncomfortable.
I can imagine. That's going to chafe.
I ate, slept, I touched myself, Daniel Bryan the whole way. Huge Daniel Bryan mark. And as I say, I now hate him in the entertainment way. I hate the character he is portraying. I want to see him get his comeuppance, and I want to see him get kicked in the face by Kofi.
obviously. But the Daniel Bryan, when we were at Mania 30. Listener, just in case we
Yes.
haven't made that clear on
Yes.
every podcast we've ever done. And the whole thing then, I mean, I'd been watching, I saw his rise, I saw his takeover of whatever and all that sort of thing. And I don't like that either. Like those are what's spectacular to me is those are clearly elements of the same character. This
Yeah.
whole the whole bit when he went into the ring and he was doing the thing. It's elements of the same character. You can see the character evolution, which is very clever.
Two sides of the same coin.
Yeah, but I never particularly took to that. That was not a thing that made me warm to him. But I had not seen him wrestle by that stage, and then he was almost from the point that I was introduced to him, he was almost being protected because of the big Mania push that he was getting. I'd not seen him at all before then. I was on a hiatus from wrestling before that point. So I've still never seen. I've seen that. I've seen him lose. I've seen him retire. I've seen him come back. But I've yet to see. I'm seeing bits of it now and then now, but I still haven't seen the thing that makes everybody say how good he is.
I think he's like,
other than his character work.
Well, I think he's like Bret Hart, AJ Styles, people like that. Very rare breed of person that just can have a good match with anybody. He can make a good match with anybody. There's very few guys that can do that. You know, Triple H can't do that. Stone Cold couldn't do that. The Rock couldn't do that. Hulk Hogan couldn't do that. These guys can have it. Shawn Michaels could do it. It can have a good match with anybody. And that's where the brilliance lies. The problem is you don't get enough of them in a match with somebody else that can keep up to that standard. But again, if you go through the archives, if you look for Of Honor at the moment, are putting out tons of videos of these guys when they were in Ring of Honor back in the mid 2000s. So in there, you're getting the Daniel Bryan Samoa Joe matches that make everybody go, holy shit, Daniel Bryan and Samoa Joe, they are the real deal. You know, they are fucking good. But yeah, WWE, the WWE method as well, though, doesn't necessarily allow the same expression.
No.
Hence why
I know, yeah, exactly. I completely understand why I haven't seen it completely, though I've seen more of it from Samoa Joe and from AJ Styles than I have from Daniel Bryan, just purely because of the fact that he wasn't in the ring for 3 years. You know, I completely understand that there's more to him to see, and I'm glad to get the opportunity to see it. But even like his comeback was terribly booked.
Oh yeah,
his comeback was dreadful. The given how phenomenally good the promos were, the feud between him and the Miz was just a damp squid.
Story wise, yeah,
it was a damp squid.
Damp
as opposed to a dry squid, which is that's bad for the squid.
Technically, it's calamari, isn't it?
Well, I think that's usually quite moist, isn't it?
Don't use the word moist on a podcast; we'll get an R rating.
I think I think a dry squid is probably dead. But
probably.
Mind you, so's calamari. I'm not suggesting calamari's alive because that would be incredibly cruel.
Moistness is not necessarily a reflection of a squid's health. I think it's
indeed.
It's the scientific conclusion we have just come to.
Yeah. If you are going to take one thing away from this podcast, that's the thing you take away.
Science.
Now you mentioned a moment or two ago, before you choked your lungs out, you mentioned a word beginning with K.
Kofi.
Yes. Now I take it you're up to speed with with the events of last night.
Yes, I am. I will say this. I like Kofi. I have never been a huge Kofi fan. So for all the inconsistent booking, for all the crappy storylines, for all the bad turns that we've seen over the last few years, they have me interested in this. I now want to see it. They've jumped me on the bandwagon. Anytime Vince McMahon bends someone over and Rogers them, metaphorically speaking, it automatically makes me interested because I like Vince McMahon's bastard character. Mr. McMahon is a great guy.
Yeah, absolutely. But then he didn't start this. Well, I mean, obviously he did behind the scenes, but he wasn't on screen involved in it when it kicked off.
No, but it's become more interesting with him.
Oh yeah, no question. Don't disagree with that at all. But I This, again, though, to be fair, they haven't yet, and they've still got 2 weeks, and they easily could, but they haven't yet ruined this by overbooking it. But it came about by accident.
Yeah.
It came about because Mustafa Ali got injured.
Yes.
And they needed a replacement who could do more or less the same stuff as Mustafa Ali could. And Kofi, to his great credit, stepped up massively, and the crowd got hugely behind him. It's been great to see, and I'm totally on board with this. I think it looks great.
Yes,
I think
I wouldn't be surprised to see a 3-way for the title, but I don't know who that third person will be.
I don't want to see a 3-way for the title.
No,
I'm fed up seeing 3-ways for the title.
But I wouldn't be surprised. Just like for the US title, I don't think we've got a US title match yet. I wouldn't be surprised to see
it. It was announced on SmackDown. Yeah.
Not the US title, the Intercontinental, sorry.
Intercontinental. No, we don't.
I wouldn't be surprised to see a 4-way for the Intercontinental title with Balor, Lashley, Reigns, and McIntyre, because at the moment none of the 4 of them have anything to do. And it's either going to be 2 individual matches, Balor versus Lashley, McIntyre versus Reigns. But I can see them throwing the 4-way in and giving Reigns the United States, the Intercontinental belt.
Well, there's speculation that the US title, because the US title is hotter just now, a lot hotter just now than the Intercontinental.
Yeah.
And a suggestion that although the US title match has been announced, there is still an Andrade Mysterio feud ongoing.
Yeah.
And their match has been really good.
Yep.
So, and can you imagine Andrade, R-Truth, Samoa Joe, and Rey Mysterio in a ladder match for the US Championship? That'd be so good. I'm telling you, that's moist. I'm moist right there thinking about that.
You're probably dripping, to be fair.
Yeah, I'm a bit of slaver coming down.
Yeah, I mean that's the thing. There's still, and again, Cena doesn't have a match yet, and the assumption is he's going to be there. So does Cena come into this Intercontinental title picture? Does he come into something else? Because at the moment he does.
I already said what I think Cena's going to go into.
What was that?
I think he's going to get involved in the. I think he's going to be involved in the angle.
The angle.
The angle. Yeah. Nobody's made that joke yet.
No. Well, nobody that we know of. So I just invented the angle.
Yeah, that's true. You did. You invented the angle. Yeah.
Go me.
Go you. Yeah.
Either that, or he may not do Mania at all, other than an appearance, and he may. I mean, Seth Rollins doesn't have a ready-made opponent for when. I suppose he does. McIntyre destroyed him, didn't he? So Seth Rollins, McIntyre after Mania, maybe, or
that's what I would think.
It's an interesting one. And the other one, we just don't know what's going to happen with The Undertaker.
Yes. So you hadn't picked up on this.
No,
I'd only just heard it.
I've given you the teaser. I'm waiting with bated breath.
I'd only just heard it. So not a half an hour before we started this, somebody was saying Wrestling Inc., their Instagram, somebody posted something to them and they reposted it, and it is a photo, apparently not doctored, though who can say, of a WrestleMania 35 truck with The Undertaker's face on it.
Okay.
Now, he's a big draw for the WWE. There's any number of reasons why his face could be on a truck, but everybody else in the truck is on the card, and he's not. So, but I mean, it's thin evidence, right? But Mania without Taker would be weird.
It would be.
I'm not sure I want to see a drawn out, poor quality wrestling match, but
to be fair,
it's a shame not to see him somewhere.
To be fair, I'm looking at this, and do you know who else is on that picture?
Who else is on that picture?
It's not a great picture, but it looks like Big E is on that picture as well.
Hang on. I did look at it before, but I wasn't paying a huge amount of attention.
You've got Taker, Rollins, Rousey, Joe, and then it looks like it could be Big E on the end. I'm almost sure.
Wrestling Instagram. Here we go. Let me see. Yeah, in all honesty, I can't tell who that is. But yeah, I would say I can't think who else that would be if it's not Big E. Doesn't. I mean,
So that makes me think either
the face
it's
looks too broad
irrelevant.
to be Kofi.
Yeah, it's either irrelevant. Whoa, I'm getting music. What have I got music from? What have I done?
Probably from something you've clicked here.
Yeah,
But I'm not hearing it, so I'm not hearing it. Neither are our lovely listener.
Thank God for that, because it was awful. It was like 70s porn sex music.
This is the danger with browsing the web while you're doing this. True story.
So I'm zooming in on this picture. I'm zooming in.
Yeah.
Oh my God. I think it's Big E.
Could be.
Although he's got a Kofi smile, but the head looks too broad.
Yeah. So it could be Kofi. It could be the angle of the photo that is artificially broadening out the thing.
Yeah. Yeah.
But yeah, like I say, I mean it's a picture on the side of a truck. They have lots of pictures on the sides of trucks. It doesn't necessarily mean anything. So, but it's the only evidence that there is anywhere before whether it'll be or not at this point in time. So we'll see.
So I tell you, it could be a fantastically massive swerve by Mr. McMahon, because there's lots of stories and controversy about the Undertaker doing this star thingy that may or may not be linked with All Elite Wrestling.
Mm-hmm.
Now that could become, a story in itself, that he by the Undertaker doing that, and the Undertaker now possibly being at WrestleMania, that increases WrestleMania buzz as well, rather than All Elite Wrestling buzz. I mean, that
exactly.
Stroke of genius. It's like invading when they sent DX to invade WCW live on Monday Nitro. It's
and that's the thing. I mean, the trucks are advertising for the company, so why wouldn't you put one of the biggest draws in the entire history of your company on the side of it?
Indeed.
He's still under contract. I believe he's still under contract with them, but not what is he? I can't remember what this is. He's not on the active roster, but he's still affiliated or something. I can't remember how it works. But there's no reason why not. Although that being said, don't see Stone Cold on the side of them.
No, but
you see The Rock.
They've been inactive slightly longer. Stone Cold especially.
Mm-hmm, yeah.
So there we go.
Yeah. So who knows? Who knows what will be? What will be as a result of that? We just don't know.
We don't.
What I assume that you're on the same page as me with this, and this, despite the result of despite Kofi being beaten, he will find some way back in.
I can imagine that's so. They don't have a Daniel Bryan match set up yet. There is no other obvious contender to the throne, apart from, obviously, John Cena doesn't have a match. But again, I just don't think they're going to do that. I think they'll give Cena another title at some point to beat the Ric Flair title record that Cena's kind of level with him on. 16 World Championships or something. I think he'll get it. But I think they will build to it. I don't think it'll be a ta-da, surprise shock type thing.
I would agree. I don't think it's going to be Cena either. But I can't see it not being Kofi. They know the draw that will be.
Yes.
I don't know why they're making such a mess of it just now. I think he could have won his gauntlet match. He could have had his match, and that would have been okay. Is it? Yeah, Brian doesn't have a match just now.
No.
Doesn't at all have a match. Now, this wasn't for insertion into another match.
No.
This was just for a match with Brian.
Yep.
So, yeah,
And again, Kevin Owens seems to have fallen off the face of he's doing the Owens show now.
And that's something I was surprised about. I don't know, you don't watch the full SmackDown or the full Raw, do you?
I watch as much as I can get my hands on.
As much as you can, as much as you can get your hands on, exactly. So I've seen all of the SmackDown I can get my hands on, which is more or less all of it. What was a thing there, and it might not come across in the stuff you got to handle, is the fact that they had all of the babyface side of the roster at one point or another, either backstage, wishing Kofi luck or watching his match and cheering him on and stuff. It was quite an unusual thing to see.
Yeah, That's
You don't often see
that makes it
the actual roster going behind somebody.
that makes it the true underdog story, doesn't it?
Yeah, totally.
So that's where we are in the wrestling world, ladies and gentlemen.
Well, I wonder if that's going to feed into something, as in like Vince McMahon's going to have a strike on his hands if like the roster are going to refuse to perform if this or the next thing. So I wonder if that's going to play into it.
Maybe, but that would be a really shitty storyline.
Well, yeah, because the WWE never do shitty storylines.
No, true.
But yes, so was there anything else that happened?
Yes.
Since
One,
last week?
wrestling wise, nope. You in your personal life got very up and close with the beautiful woman, didn't you?
Not so much.
I
mean, she was on the other side of a cinema screen, so it doesn't feel that up close and personal.
Well, it's closer than you get to most women because of the injunctions these days.
Well, yeah. Only the ones that know me.
Injunction, is that the right word? Because that's like something you put in place so you don't report a press story, isn't it?
I don't think it's the right word, but we know what you mean.
Yeah, it's funnier if I get the right word, though, surely.
Yeah, well.
Regardless,
if you want, I could look it up. I could look it up and overdub you, but that's going to sound pretty bad.
Right. So
I should correct you in the edit. No.
So you went to see Captain Marvel.
Yes, I saw Captain Marvel. I went to see Captain Marvel on
one of the days over the weekend. Saturday, Sunday.
Saturday, I think it was. Yeah,
Saturday.
I think it was Saturday. Mm-hmm. Yes, Saturday evening, just an impromptu out of the blue. One of my pals asked if I fancy going out for a bit of dinner, so went out for a bit of dinner. We were down the beach anyway, so I was showing at 9. Why not? Let's go. So in we went. That was good, and I enjoyed it.
Good.
What I've been trying to get my head around since then is how much I enjoyed it. I often do this with movies. I think it can take me an awfully long time to decide whether I genuinely like the movie or not. I very much, quite happily, get caught up in the moment.
Yeah.
So thoroughly enjoyed it. Came out of the cinema, buzzing. Yeah, good movie, everything like that. But because I know what I'm like, I'm loath to make a call till some time has passed. And then, of course, because this is an MCU movie, you've got to kind of look at where it sits in the rest of them. So I think it's very good. It's not Avengers.
Yeah.
But it is also not Thor 2. Or Iron Man 2. It's a good little bit above those or the Incredible Hulk. It was the one. Incredible Hulk was the 2008 one. That's the canon one, isn't it?
Yes.
It is. So to my mind, up at the top you've got Avengers and Avengers Endgame. Below there, I'm not sure about the order here, but you've got Winter Soldier, you've got Civil War, you've got Black Panther, and you would have this. So it's there. It's better than it's above the bar, I would say, for
okay, so it's in the top.
Marvel
it's in the top half of the Marvel movies.
Certainly in the top half. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean that's the thing. Even the poorer Marvel movies are perfectly entertaining. That's the thing that they managed to do well. So Iron Man 2, I'm with you with that. It's not the best of the Marvel movies, but it's perfectly entertaining. Incredible Hulk was perfectly entertaining. It was all right. And then
Thor. I watched Thor 2. I periodically I have them, and I periodically go through them just in order, just to watch them again, just to refresh myself. And it's something you can play on a monitor while you're playing a game and stuff like that without paying an awful lot of attention. Thor 2 kind of sucks the air out of the room. Thor 2 kind of sucks.
Okay, I thought it was all right. I wouldn't get excited about it. I wouldn't.
It's the entire lack of chemistry between the leads.
Yes, that's why she.
Excuse me.
That's why Natalie Portman. Oh, no, I don't hear it. I can't hear it. You've muted your sneeze. You muted your sneeze. You professional.
Check me out.
You professional.
Yes, I hear what you're saying about the Natalie Portman.
Yeah, I mean that's why they dumped her into from the third movie. It was let's make a sly joke about that not working out. But yeah, so yeah.
I don't know. I never heard anything about whether the leads didn't get on or anything. The on-screen chemistry just wasn't there.
I don't. Really... So Natalie Portman, I think she's a good actress and all that. She doesn't seem to do the romance thing particularly well. She's not a romantic movie person. She's a great actress, but yeah, I mean, you think about the Star Wars films and the chemistry there.
Yeah, that's true.
And then the Thor films and that. But where she excels is usually films where it's heavier storyline, more more well built, well rounded character.
I guess she's
not
better
fluff. She's not a fluff actress. Yeah.
Yeah, she'd be great in a relationship movie where the relationship is going terribly.
Yeah, like Black Swan. Yeah. I mean, it's good to hear this. All right, I haven't seen it yet. I've been burying myself in other types of movies, and that's not those other types of movies that we talked about earlier. Just I've been spending a lot of time in front of television watching Prime type movies and Netflixy type stuff, which I'm cheating on this podcast to do another one on those. I know I'm such a bad person.
Go on, plug yourself. Plug yourself. Go on.
Oh well, you can find me reviewing movies in more detail at www.lacticfire.com. Also available on iTunes, Lactic Fire movie reviews, and Stitcher as well. And you can follow me on Twitter at @LacticFire. And I'm going to say no more because Chris is going to cut me off.
No, not at all. What I was going to say there was that I'm glad you said it a number of times, because the first time you said lactic fire, the lactic just kind of cut out, so it was fire. Well, that's not going to find you.
Lacticfire.com.
Lacticfire.com. There you go. But yes, I mean the thing about this movie, again thinking about it in the analysis, the thing about this movie that made it an upper half was, she is fantastic in the role. I mean, she is absolutely, I would say, no question, the best thing about the movie.
Okay.
She's really, really good at the role. And I was under the impression, I might have been wrong about that, actually, but because I tried to do some digging into what controversy I'd heard, I think I may have gotten the wrong end of the stick. I kind of assumed that internet trolls, being internet trolls, decided that they would be unhappy with their seemingly being a bit of a pro-feminist agenda in this movie. This was the controversy. We mentioned before the podcast that this was a controversy I wasn't going to get into. But it seems I'm wrong about that. I may not be, but I couldn't find any evidence of that. The controversy seems to have been Brie Larson saying something about critics being white men or something like that, and that seemed to kick off something on Twitter because keyboard warriors and stuff.
Yeah, no, I think it's both. I think it's like anything. There's multiple layers to this. So yes, there was a backlash against the pro-feminist agenda. There are people that just they feel that movies like Captain Marvel only exist because feminism needs to be pushed down our throats. Whereas it's kind of like the opposite way. It's feminism is celebrating that movies like this are coming rather than forcing them through. There's an appetite for these movies to be seen and for these characters to be seen, like there was with Wonder Woman as well. And to do them justice beyond, hey, look, I can have a box of hankies by the side of me while I watch this, to take it beyond that level of movie. Because even if you look at the early Avengers films, and we're not even going back that far now, the way that Black Widow was treated as a character, there's lots of lingering shots of Scarlett Johansson's body. Now they play on that a little bit. Now it's become a bit of an in-joke, but the even recent treatment of female superheroes, especially, or sci-fi, it's a really bad genre for objectifying women. Even recently, that's been the case. So there is a certain pushback against this, not because it's a female, or I don't think because it's a female-led comic book movie, but because people think it only exists because someone's trying to force female-led superhero movies on us. Much the same people push back on Black Panther with, yeah, they're forcing there must be an all black cast, and they're forcing this on us. It's like, no, this is actually a comic book story that's set in a fictional African country. So yeah, the majority of the characters are going to be black. They're not. Yeah, it's going to be a little bit. The term whitewashing is used a lot at the moment. that would really be the ultimate whitewashing. And we're getting past that, but people think we're getting past that in some sort of false narrative way that's being forced by other people's agendas, rather than actually, if you're setting a superhero movie in a fictional African country, it makes sense that the majority of the characters are black.
Yeah, and like Captain Marvel is or has been for most of our time in the comics female.
Apart from when Captain Marvel was Shazam.
Yes, but that's different. There was a Captain Marvel. There was a Marvel Captain Marvel. The first Marvel Captain Marvel was apparently a dude.
Yeah,
but he wasn't very popular and didn't last very long.
Yeah, and the first ever Captain Marvel was a dude in the DC universe, which is really confusing.
Yeah. Yes, but she is a woman. This was not a choice that was made to shove a thing down your throat. However, anyway, the point was made. A point was made by somebody else that I'm going to steal. Shout out to Mari. Was that as long as people are going to accuse movies of trying to shove agendas down their throats, then we need movies with agendas.
Yep.
Until such time as this is just a bit of a movie, and then that's fine. That's all it is.
But, I mean, and the add-on to that is, do we really want to get to a place where movies don't have some sort of... not every movie has to have a message, but do we want to get to a place where movies just can't have messages?
I think there's a difference between message and agenda.
I think most messages are agendas, but
I'm okay with it. Maybe yes, maybe no, but
we're not talking.
But I think an agenda is more of a pushed message, rather to my mind at least. But I think a movie with a message is a fine thing. There's nothing wrong with a movie with a message.
I know, but what I'm trying to say is, for some people, a message is an agenda. Now, there are some clearly movies driven with agendas, that are trying to push a certain point of view. Michael Moore's documentaries, they always have agendas. He has a political stance, and he's trying to push that political stance into the limelight. That is an agenda-driven movie. For some people, though, even a film that just has a message is a movie with an agenda, because they're trying to give you a message. And if that's not a message you want to hear, then it's the other person's pushing their agenda.
Yes,
it's a really fine line, and where that line is,
a fine line, and it's dependent on your perspective.
That's what I was going to say.
It is all down to a thing that's being shoved down your throat. If you feel that a message is being shoved down your throat, then yes, you will probably perceive that as an agenda.
Yes,
but that's your perception of it.
But again, to take such a binary view, which people do take, that means that you've got to stop putting messages in movies. I did on my other podcast, Lactic Fire Movie Reviews, a review that went out today on a film called Upgrade, which I conjugated on for 24 hours before I did my podcast on it. I watched it yesterday, did the podcast today, and as I thought about it, more and more things about the messages in that movie came to my head, and it was one of those things where it was kind of the layered realization of, well, actually, maybe it was saying this. Now, maybe it was saying none of these things, and I've just read way too much into this fairly low budget action horror thriller movie. But like you, I let it sit in my brain and ferment for a while. But it actually has a ton of messages in it. I think some people will see it as it has an agenda. It has a political message. It has an agenda against a certain direction that lives are taking, so on and so forth. But it is really easy to be offended on the internet.
I think people look to be offended by it.
I think they do. I think people for something that offends them. And
Keyboard warriors, shout out to Mari.
And the Captain Marvel thing, it's part of the feminist agenda. I don't know, or they're trying to push feminism down my throat. And it's like, well, I'm a simple man. I'm a very simple man, and I want to see a good film. And I will be honest, if you give me a good film, I don't care if the lead character is male, female, black, white, Asian. I don't care if it's a fucking goat. If it's a good film,
what if it's a tree?
And I'll watch it. I'll watch a good, like Guardians of the
tree
Galaxy.
Or a raccoon.
Groot gets his own movie. I would watch a Groot movie, even if all the lines were "I am Groot." If it was well done, I would watch that. But
I'm surprised the short hasn't appeared. In all honesty, I'm surprised.
So am I, and maybe we've just given Marvel, Disney, Fox, Lucasfilm the best idea in the world, because they listen to this, obviously.
They so had that idea first.
Yeah, no way. That's completely us. But yeah, I mean, feel free to be offended by whatever you want. I mean, I watched a pretty poor film called I Feel Pretty the other day, which has got Amy Schumer, and it's a body positive message, and people got offended about that. Feminists got offended by that, or some of them did. Because like any group of people, it's not one big group, it's lots of little splinter groups, all with varying degrees of views on what feminism actually means. Some got offended by that. Some thought it was a fantastic message, and then you've got men sitting in the middle, or some men sitting in the middle, going, "No, pushing the feminist agenda." Oh, jeez, it's just a bad film, guys. Rant over. Rant.
Wow, now the rant's over. Goodness me.
Maybe.
You want to warn me before you do that again. My ear's bleeding.
Internet people are, the internet has the ability to be one of the best things in the world, not just because of cat videos, but for so much other else. And it's a place of great evil. And then it's also a place where, as you say, you log onto the internet to look for something to offend you. What can I find that I don't like?
You know what? Of the internet, I will say this.
You will never find the more wretched hive of scum and villainy.
Indeed. Yeah, just Twitter, never mind internet, just Twitter. Should have been called Twatter, because then everybody would be twats.
The internet was better when only the geeks knew about it. When it was only Star Wars pictures, that was it.
And cat videos.
I take that back. Star Wars videos and Star Trek pictures and porn, because there's always been porn.
There has. Just as a side motion before we finish, did you know that porn has been at the forefront of most technological revolutions in the last 40 years?
Certainly in terms of entertainment, yeah.
Well, no, because the VHS Betamax war was won when porn chose VHS.
Yes, that would be entertainment, don't know.
Yeah, but you know what I mean. It's like VHS,
entertainment technology,
DVD, VR, internet. Porn has been at the cutting edge of technology before most major movie studios have ever reached their decisions. If you want to bet on a new technology, if you want to invest in a new technology, find out what porn is backing and then invest in it. This is not advice covered by the Financial Conduct Authority.
So, listener, what I said before about if there's one thing you take away from this podcast, I've scrubbed that. This is the new one. Take away that.
Yes. Invest where porn invests.
Find out what porn backs.
Yep.
Yes.
Yes, on that, thank you everybody for joining us for this week's raucous ride through the world of wrestling and Captain Marvel and various side paths and side routes and parallel thinking. We encourage critical thinking. Don't insult us on the internet. We can't live with trolls. We're too weak emotionally.
I'm a snowflake. I would rather not be criticised. Thank you, listener. Tell your friend.
Tell your friend that we will be back next week. We will discuss wrestling. We will probably discuss some sort of movies or television or something like that, and it will be borderline average.
Yeah, if we can get the quality up a little bit, borderline average is exactly what we're aiming for. Nice. All right. See you next week. Bye, everyone. Bye. 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 Bye.